From the Sundance Film Festival, I'm Zach with Art and Amanda, and we're talking about the world premiere of Cha-Cha Real Smooth. This is the sophomore feature film from Cooper Raiff, whose debut feature, Shithouse, won the 2020 South by Southwest Grand Jury Prize. In Cha-Cha Real Smooth, he plays Andrew, a 22-year-old, fresh out of college and living at home. He starts working as a party starter for bar mitzvahs when he meets an intriguing local mom, Domino, played by Dakota Johnson. This is playing as part of Sundance's U.S. Dramatic Competition section, and as of halfway through the fest, it does not yet have distribution. So
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
We don't know when we're going to see this one next.
That's actually depressing. I didn't know that. Oh, no. Aww.
Art, Cooper's character is very good at charming people, but were you charmed by Cooper in this film?
I was. I actually liked him a lot more than even in his previous role. I thought it was pretty good in it. He has this perfect balance of being completely cringe, but right before it becomes creepy, you're like, it's just Cooper.
He's good-hearted.
He's a big-hearted boy.
He's a mensch.
He could be lying this entire time. But we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, for now we're going to give him
I think we're all charmed by this one. And
yeah.
I personally, like I said, I liked it a little bit more than his first one, which won the South by Grand Jury Prize. Mm-hmm. This one is up for the Grand Jury Prize here at Sundance. I know a lot of people have been coming out of it liking it. I kind of have a hunch that it may win an audience award, but... a lot of good in it.
I'm rooting against him because if he wins South by Southwest and Sundance before 25, like, what are the rest of us supposed to feel?
He deserves it. I've never been so like, I'm going to watch your career with great promise.
Even then, the thing that he's still facing is being in the theater to watch his movies.
Right.
Because he's yet to be able to do that.
Yeah, which is
That's
so depressing. That's actually, like, it's heartbreaking for me. I would have loved to have watched this on a nice... We got the next best thing, though.
I mean, you still had a pretty emotional response
I
to this
did.
movie.
I was like, I probably would have bawled more if I'd been alone, but I still cried quite a bit. I was like pacing around after the movie was done, just kind of like doing that all through the next movie. I was like, oh my God.
Well, what was it about the characters that you felt like you could connect to?
I don't know.
Or the approach to the characters.
Yeah,
maybe.
I feel like with him, it was like the same thing with Shithouse. Even though like when I moved away for university, I didn't have that same reaction because it's literally him like not adjusting well at all and wanting to go home all the time and missing his mom. And like, I love my mom, but I was like pretty good, away from home. But he's just so honest. There's just something so tender and pure about the way he expresses things in films that seems so genuine. And I think that always shines through in performances, even if it's not something that you can directly relate to. And then they just had this like really nice conversation about like, not nice, but they had a conversation about like depression, just kind of like as they're eating, will you come here, Otter Pops? Freezies, where I'm from. Freezies, yeah. And it's just, I don't know, it's like that moment like really hit me. Mm-hmm. And then I started reeling from being like, it's been a while since I've had like a really good emotional reaction to a movie. So then I was having an emotional reaction to having an emotional reaction. So it was just compounding, but I was really moved by this one.
No, it's great. It's great when a movie like this can really hit you. And like sometimes it is those characters just going through a thing and putting it that you can empathize with or relate to and putting it in a way that you maybe haven't seen expressed before.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Art, did you find it interesting that Cooper wrote a character that charms everybody and is the life of the party and then cast himself in that role?
This man's going to be like Adele. Every single one of his movies is just going to be whatever that year is in his life. If the previous one was him dealing in college with not being able to be separated from his family, then this is him realizing maybe he's over-smothering his family to a degree. I really like that idea of, in this one, they described it as, like, he's the dude who doesn't know how to start his own party, so he's too busy starting other people's parties for them. And I really like that perspective of him. Amanda was talking about a scene that happens with Freeze Pops. I know him as Bolis, so... there's a scene right after that. That takes place in a car with Raul Castillo's character, who's a character actor I've liked from Sundance. He was also in another movie previously, We the Animals, I want to say it was called.
Yeah,
fantastic in that one. Mm-hmm. He just plays a side character in this, but it's that scene right after that one talk that they have between his character by the car that I was like, yo, this movie's pretty raw.
Yeah.
And I think he does a really good job at capturing those moments in his movies.
I think something that distinguishes Cooper's films from maybe some of the other films that are at least tonally similar to this one is that he really does take the time to think about each of the characters in a little bit more in-depth of a way, to give them a little bit of empathy. You could very easily imagine that character, that Raul Castillo character, playing something different specifically to be a foil but that's not what he is, and that's not what like life is like.
Yeah.
That's
You
not
know?
what Raul is like either. That's a G right there. But yeah, no, I feel you.
No, it's true. That's what I mean when I say like it's honest.
Yes.
And it's like usually you watch movies to be like a heightened reality, and to extent this obviously is going to be to a bit, but at the same time, like life doesn't have stuff like that as much as you think it would. Those big dramatic moments don't ever really play out the way you think they're going to when they're happening in your real life. And he just really expressed that like the best way.
And you have other movies where you have characters, I don't want to say are completely similar, but who make decisions that don't make them likable, I guess. And we've seen audiences not like those movies in this festival alone. Cooper does it, and people eat it up. It's just the approach that he has to his characters, where people aren't looking to judge them. You know, they're looking to see, okay, this is a mistake that they made. Not a character who did something that the audiences relate to, and they go, ugh, that's disgusting. I'm tuned out. And I think that's where he really finds his beat in.
He loves his characters, and he loves them for their flaws as well.
Exactly.
Amanda, I think a movie like this runs the risk of being so sweet that it turns a little bit saccharine. Like, what do you think it is that keeps it from tipping over that line?
The love for his mom.
The love for his mom. I don't know. It's because it's like I feel like it never goes too far, because then he'll say something that it's all like, okay, well now you're being an asshole, and it's like, because it kind of like centers it around there, and it doesn't.
He's not perfect as much of he's like as he's like a great guy in this movie.
He's a great guy, but he's always going at the stepdad and just like random little things like that. And that's what I mean. He wrote and directed, and he's lead acting in it. It would be really easy to try to paint yourself in the best possible way. But no, he's willing to show those like darker sides and like show moments where he's not as, on top of it as you'd think he would be, right?
2 lines that made me cringe so hard when he claims he has a condition.
I know, that's what I mean. There's some moments that it's just like that, or where he just snaps at people where normally he's been like really good at not doing that. And then just giving other characters room to breathe too is good.
I think we would all definitely recommend Cha-Cha Real Smooth, but how highly are you recommending this? Is this like a must-see or the must-see coming out of Sundance for you?
I think we'll go down this way.
For me, it is. I think especially if you're someone who is kind of like in the process of like graduating or trying to figure out what you're doing in life, this is just one of those like really good movies. I know that when I had an extra ticket to this and I was asking people like why they wanted to see it last night before giving away the ticket, and that was like really consistently why people wanted to watch it. It's because like they were in college when they saw Shithouse.
I saw
and
that,
they're graduating now.
It's
and
their
like
Pixar.
Yeah, it's their Pixar. It's like these are the kind of movies that help people, and I feel like even if you're outside of that part of your life, there's always something that you can relate to in that uncertainty, because that uncertainty is going to continue on. Even the people who think they have it figured out the most, you're constantly changing, constantly evolving, and it's like kind of good to remember that, and that it's going to be okay. So yeah, definite recommend for me.
And you're high on it as well. I think you were higher on it than Shithouse, at least.
Yeah, I'm higher on it. To me, this is like that perfect. If you were at the film festival, I would have loved to have catch this early in the morning at the Eccles, even at the Egyptian. I think once it comes out to probably your art house theater, considering the release that Shithouse had as well, I think that catching this as a matinee would be beautiful. And like Amanda was saying, I know that this was made specifically, if the first one was to talk about college, this is like, what are you supposed to do when you're in your 20s? And you wanted to make a movie that kind of answered that.
Figuring out that next step.
He did it.
Totally. Yeah, I'm definitely, I feel like not just in the minority at the table, but like online, in that I think I like Shithouse a little bit more. And maybe it's partially because of that college setting, but yeah, it does really.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's okay, man. You're allowed. You're allowed to want to relive your glory days of missing your mom.
Yeah, exactly. I get it, what it's like to miss your mom. There's a lot of love for moms in Cooper's
I know, I love it. It's so cute.
They must have a really nice relationship.
There's a soundbite out there with him just saying, I love my mom. Hey, that's good.
Yeah,
it is.
Good for him. Yeah,
also, sorry, I was going to say Dakota Johnson, fantastic in this. We didn't touch on that.
Producer
I just want to take a second. Yeah, she produced it. Art was telling us that I thought this was one of those, like, he cast her against
Everybody
himself, but he was like, this is one I don't even want to act in. And she was like, I won't do it unless you do it, because you charmed me enough to make room in my schedule to film this movie. Right. And I love that. And I think he gave her a lot to work with. And it's, it's similar to some other stuff she's done, but it's also kind of like elevated compared to a lot of what she's done before in a good way.
Yeah, it gives her some stuff to chew on. But speaking of performances, I think Cooper he's become so much better even since Shithouse in terms of how the depth he can give his characters, and like we talked about how he's able to charm people. I think maybe some of this dialogue or setups wouldn't work as well with another actor.
I think
Something
so.
you were talking about earlier, but he is able to sell all of it. So it's just it's a great match of actor to material, and makes sense why he would want to put himself in his movies.
Yeah.
And shout out Leslie Mann. She did a really good job too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brad Garrett, I think, has a fun couple moments.
Yeah, very good, very fun.
It's good to see. I feel like Brad Garrett's not in a lot of stuff.
A lot of dads in these Sundance movies have just been there to give like a one-liner, be
Yeah.
disrespected, and then just go back to
Yes,
the side.
true.
I feel like
Oh,
there's been too many
no.
of them.
Yeah.
That is the trend.
Maybe the best one of them, though.
Yeah,
this
I
movie.
think so, yeah.
Yeah, cool.